Good evening, I'm Katie Fenton. After having 3 strokes in a week, the 40-year-old was left paralysed on one side.
I had a very busy life. I was on my feet 24/7. I was constantly on the go. It's just been difficult to get used to.
Data and charities consider North Wales to be poor when it comes to stroke services. So this is the first of 3 rehabilitation units to try and turn that and the lives of people like Yuan around. How do you feel about the future?
To start, it was very grim. But now the staff at Artillery have shown me that there is a way forward.
He was also fluent in 3 languages. Speech was a huge part of his identity. But in April last year, Gareth had a stroke.
So the opposites now. Yes and...
No.
Perfect. That's really good. Knife and... You have a knife and...
No.
Fork?
Fork.
Yeah.
Gareth went from teaching English to learning to speak it himself.
To sit opposite my dad and for him to try and speak to me but not be able to, it's like he's there but he's not there, and that's the hardest thing. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think it's just difficult to navigate life when you can't speak or express yourself, written or verbally. Like, where does that leave you?
We've also been hearing about long ambulance delays and the impact of those. We know that long waits are an existing issue that affect all kinds of 999 calls, but we also know that when it comes to a stroke, acting quickly is crucial. Lisa says it was over an hour and a half before her dad got to hospital, and figures that we've obtained revealed that that's quite a common picture for stroke patients across Wales. Average waiting times for amber stroke-related incidents were just over an hour between 2020 and 2021, and almost 2 hours between 2021 and the first quarter of this year. It's advice we've all become familiar with.
The faster you act, the more of the person we save.
But for Cameron Spiller, it's a painful reminder of what didn't happen when his grandfather, Robert Llewellyn, had a stroke.
She realised that part of his face had actually drooped, which obviously at that point she knew it was a stroke.
So she acted fast and called 999. But it would be 8 hours before an ambulance arrived.
We're all questioning whether he's that bad because of the extent of the stroke, or whether the ambulance time has actually had an effect on his rehabilitation process.
According to stroke doctors, it's likely they did.
When someone has a stroke, there's not enough blood getting to a part of the brain. And we know for every minute that happens, almost 2 million brain cells are dying.
What can we get for you today? Hiya. Can I have a strawberry coconut refresher drink, please?
Ordering at a drive-through. It might seem like nothing to you, but for Jessie, it's a huge challenge.
Before my journey, I'd never done it before, as I was too scared.
I'm scrolling through an eating disorder awareness hashtag, and while I must say most of it is positive, I'm not going to show you the screen because some harmful videos can slip through the cracks. And that's enough to keep Holly, who's recovering from an eating disorder, off the app entirely. Ali Eager moved to Wales from Somalia as a young man. He made Grangetown his home and soon became a pillar of the community.
I love that one. Oh.
But when dementia took hold, his life began to change. She says the more she learned, the more she realised just how unsuitable services are for people like her dad.
When people get dementia, a lot of them go back to their mother tongue language. They also want to see people from their own communities, faces that they recognise. As Muslims, we pray, so having an ablution place where they can wash and get ready for a prayer room. The food is another thing. So to be honest, why would they come out to use these regular day services that are available? Because they're not meeting their needs.
The town and showground are just footsteps apart, but divided by the River Wye, which you can see behind me. That's not the only division here, because while Builth's population goes from around 2,000 to 250,000 during Royal Welsh Show Week, the The boost in people doesn't necessarily mean a boost in cash for the town. But in the last few minutes, I've heard from passengers leaving the airport that their TUI holiday has been cancelled, and we have asked TUI to respond to this. Normally, where I'm standing would be underwater and boats would be sailing out of the shed behind me. But Pembrokeshire saw just over 60% of its expected rainfall between March and July, and this is the result.
I want to be that person that they go, well, Nikki can do it, I can do it.
You'd be forgiven for thinking these cold water enthusiasts are enjoying one of Wales' many rural lakes or rivers. But carving its way through our biggest city, it's the River Taff that's become a wild swimming site for thousands of Cardiff locals.
I'm 31 years old now, and to have finally found something that actually makes a difference for me was fundamentally life-changing.
Thanks for watching. Good night.